Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your host, Helen Edwards and
January Liddell. Aloha.
So real quick, we're doing this live. And before we get started, just want to make sure that we are, I got you on my page. So January, we got this live on your page, right?
We do. Yeah. Can you?
Okay. I'm going to, I can't share it. You got it on Friends.
Hold on.
So you got to make it public.
Let me make it public.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
All right, here we go. It is going. Ooh, it's about to be public.
Ooh.
Here we go. It's public, girl. It's public, and we're on.
Okay, so I'm going to share on my page.
Yep.
Share now, and I'm going to share in the group, Sexy, Successful, and Soul Fed. Share now. And,
Yeah.
and I'm going to share one more time on my page. Boom. There we go. All right. We are shared all over the world. Wow. Okay. So again, welcome everybody to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. Today is a special podcast because we are celebrating 6 years. Why not? Why not? Cheers, January.
Cheers, girl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
It's wine o'clock somewhere.
Wine o'clock somewhere. Wine o'clock is every time.
Yes. So we'd love to hear or see if you're watching in the comments, post, say hello, say congratulations. I'm not telling you what to say. say anything. Just let us know you're here. And if you're watching this on a replay, #replay. And thank you, everybody. Wow, 6 years.
Okay, Helen. So you started this 6 years ago. So tell us how, well, first of all, why did you want to have a podcast?
Girl. So today I spent some time going back in time and reviewing my first and second and third, all the way up to like the 16th podcast, the first 16. And it's so funny because the very first one, if you go back and you watch episode 1 with me and Danita, shout out Danita. I literally was just thinking to myself, what are we doing? Why am I doing this? And the original idea was to have an advertising and marketing platform for free for my book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. Yes. So when I first started the podcast, I actually didn't have my book out yet. It wasn't even published. And it was July this time, 6 years ago. And I was just like, well, I got a book coming out. So it was always like, I got a book coming out. And then one day I saw the episode, I forgot which one it is, and I had a book in my hand and I was like, oh, damn, So it was also to keep me accountable and to grow. And because I love Joe Rogan, and it's a time capsule, right? Because now I get to go back and look at 6 years. We get to go back and look at 2 years. I mean, right? It's awesome.
Exactly. And cheers, Joe Rogan. Thank you for inspiring Helen. I actually started Chat with January also for the same reason, just to kind of get out, in the public. People were telling me you need to go live. And I said, well, what am I going to talk about? And so for me, it was important for me to talk about other people's story because everyone has like a story to share. And so I started with my friend Jasmine Stodel. So shout out to Jasmine Stodel. And it just evolved. And I met Helen. And I met Helen on a Women Empowering Women's Facebook group. And it was her picture really that caught me. So ladies out there, if you have a unique picture, like that is how you stand out. You stand out when you have this amazing picture with a Wonder Woman amazing shirt, like corset that was freaking bomb. Okay. So genius on your part. So I met Helen and I invited Helen to be on Chat with January. And then from that point on, she was like, hey, I need a co-host. And I applied. There were other people that applied as well. But I applied, I auditioned, and hello, here I am. So yay, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for choosing me, Helen. Because now I get to celebrate.
Aw. Yes. It's crazy because I talk to new podcasters and I talk to people who want to start a podcast. And it's always this hang up, like, I'm trying to get like 50 shows recorded before I launch. And I'm always like, man, like just launch whatever you got. Cause that's the best part. Like when I go back and I look at my first episode, which I did today, and I'll be posting video clips of the first and second and third one. I'm laughing like hysterically at myself because I even said in the very first episode, we're not professional podcasters as a disclaimer. I think I did like 20 disclaimers, and somebody has once said like launch ugly. It's the same with business. It's the same with anything. And I also realized in the first 2 years, I was all over the place. I was recording in my car when I was traveling. I was recording in coffee shops. I was recording outside. I was recording in the mountains. I was recording in the gym. It's crazy.
Wow, Helen, that's amazing. And I remember your story about Bob Marley, the Bob Marley poster. I love that story because you were like trying to get it, you and Danita were trying to get it perfect and it kept falling and you're like, screw it. It looks kind of straight and it's kind of aesthetically pleasing. So let's just do it. So I love that you did it anyway. So you did it. I don't know if you were scared, but you just did it. It didn't have to be perfect. You were just like, I'm just going to do it.
Feel the fear and do it anyways. That's what you did, January, when you first started. I remember Chat with January and I was like, oh my gosh, how do we smush these two together? And we just literally just developed over time. And it's become something that we are more consistent with, because in the beginning we were not that consistent, but it took both of us to kind of say, all right, we got to do this, we got to do that, and find each other's flow with our schedules. And that's the beauty of growing and glowing, right?
Totally. But I'm going to tell you, like, Helen, you were actually going through some things during that time. So things weren't consistent, not because, we didn't want it to or whatever, but there were certain things that were going on that prevented us from being, consistent like we are now. And I love where we've grown to now. We're going into our second year, and I love that every Friday, this is our podcast day where we are so committed to it. Even if it's like an hour or 30 minutes or whatever, we're just going to do it. It doesn't matter. We're going to do it. I love how sometimes we get on the pod and we're like, what are we going to talk about now? And we're like, okay, here's the topic. We're like, all right, let's just run with it. Let's go.
Oh yeah. I feel like one of the things that I never took to was a script, because I always wanted to remain genuine. I always wanted to remain raw and real. And if I fucked up, I wanted to just own it. To me, that was being authentic. And when I go back 6 years and I look at the first and second episode, I haven't really changed that much. I thought I had. I was like, damn, I've grown so much. I have, as far as the back office kind of stuff, like technology and, marketing and doing all these things. But my voice has remained the same. My conversation skills, I have grown in my communication skills. That I will say I have gotten better. But my character is it's still beating to the same beat, and I'm actually proud of that.
I wouldn't expect anything less, especially reading your book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. If you haven't gotten it, okay, my copy is right there. So it's right next to my bed all the time, Helen. It's right there. But if you haven't gotten it, read it. What I love about Helen's book was that she's so raw. She's raw. She lays everything out on the table, which is why I love podcasting with her, because she's authentic. And so when we have our podcast, it really is just two women getting together and having a conversation about thoughts that are in our head. So this, at Sexy Freedom Media Podcast is a platform for us to use our voices and to share the knowledge that we've been learning. And Helen and I have put in so much work, personal development, just everything, journaling, and we put it all, on the table as well. And so this is just our chance to share it. Because what good is it if we have it stuck in our heads? Nothing, right? We got to share it. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. All right. So I was recently a guest on a podcast for the host is named Adam Adams. What a cool name, right? And his podcast is called The Podcaster on Podcasting. So basically his audience is all new podcasters or people who want to podcast. And he asked me some really great questions, and it took me back into the beginning. And I really had a chance to kind of sit there and think about different reasons why I started. And there's no one reason and there's no right answer. I mean, I just really believe that there's this time capsule that we're creating for ourselves. And one of the things that I said to him was, imagine if, in the future, we don't know how podcasting is going to evolve, but imagine in the future, let's just say podcasting is still here 10 years from now, right? But let's just say it's like different technology wise, but people can still see us, right? Two things. If something happens to you or I, and our kids get to look back on this and be like, that's my mom, or they need to ask us for advice in some area, but we're not around for it, they can go to one of our episodes and find that advice. Like that in itself is freaking gold, people. It's gold. That's like wealthy beyond measure right there. So that's one reason. Now let's just say you are alive and you get to look back and you get to say, man, look at little old me. I'm so cute. That's kind of what I did all morning was I looked back at some of my episodes that I hadn't looked back on in a while. And I was laughing my ass off on some of them. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. I can't. But it's hilarious, right? Because you get to have fun and look at yourself and say, God, I'm cute. I'm cute. In a humble way,
We are capturing a moment in time. That's what we're doing. I love that, because then you're right. We do get to look back and see how we've grown, like the things that we said at that very moment. I love the fact that, our kids can take a look at it too. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about how our kids would be able to go on YouTube if YouTube is still around and look for us. And, if there's something that they want to be inspired by, or they have questions, they can always look through our titles and be like, oh, this is the one. And then press play and watch us talk and do our spiel. So I love that. I love this podcast. I really do. I love when we get on, like today, I have my glasses. I have my glasses on. You had your glasses right here. I'm like, so we're always on tune, which is one thing I love about Helen and I, maybe because we've been doing this for so consistently and for so long, and we're aligned with each other, because there are moments where she will say something like last week, she said, progress isn't perfection. What was the word? What was the phrase?
I don't know. Not perfection, but progress. Something like that.
Yeah, I have this. I was just wearing
and you
it.
had the shirt on. It was so crazy. I didn't even know.
That was nuts. She said it, and I'm like, well, guess what? Boom! I'm like wearing this shirt. This is progress. Is not perfection. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So there are certain things that she says, and that I do. Like I remember the other time we were like fumbling with our cables, but she was fumbling too. So it wasn't just me; it was her too at the same time. So we have, we're just like, so I love how aligned we are. I love that we're on this road, this journey of self-development, personal development. That is really our podcast, right? Our podcast is a story. It's a story of us and our growth and sharing that growth with you, because if we just keep it to ourselves, then we're not absorbing it as much as we should. So Coach Quick says, the more that you share, the more that you teach with others, the more that we'll retain. So that is part of our sharing on our podcast, is so that we can retain the knowledge that we've learned and share it with you folks so that you can learn too. I hope you guys are gaining value from us.
I hope so too. And if you are gaining inspiration, encouragement, empowerment from our podcast, or just some good laughs, please give us a review. I can't tell you or express how much it means to us to be a person of action, because I feel like that's the thing missing. The thing missing from a lot of people is a lot of action in their life. There's tons and tons. I mean, I can't tell you all the positive quotes that come through my feed, but where's the action? Like, I want to see you doing. Show me what you're doing. That's the secret sauce, homie.
So speaking of doing, because I have some friends, we were talking about like podcasts, or they want to learn like how to podcast, like what. So Helen, let's talk about tips of how to get started. Because there's so many back end, it's not just us getting on a camera, but there's a lot of back end story to it. So what are your tips for starting a podcast?
Well, like I mentioned, start ugly, launch ugly. I mean, because what I mean by ugly, you're not ugly. All right. Don't take it to heart. Relax. What I mean by that is you're going to criticize yourself and you're going to get in your own way. And that's the ugly part of it, is that you're going to be your own roadblock. So first of all, make a commitment and a decision. Okay. And then feel the fear and make moves anyways. So I can tell you exactly what I do. I throw on my Zoom, I press record, I put on a little ring light to add some light, for the background. I got a really nice mic, and there it is. Start recording. I do my editing on a program called Movavi, and then I do a lot of my video clips on video. So there's different, these are just different programs you can look into, but it's that simple. And then, get on your podcasting platforms, the distributors, which are Spotify's now got one, but you can also do Buzzsprout, and you can also do Anchor, which Anchor is free as far as I know. Still, it should be free. If it's not, my bad. But then you just put it on there and you put it out there. And if you don't want to if you want to just do audio, just do audio. If you want to do audio and video, put it on YouTube. So that's the start.
So I love those tips. So I hope everyone's taking notes, or you can like rewind and listen back.
I literally told you how to do it step by step. Like, you can even go on YouTube and watch a video step by step how to do it. The issue that is really getting in your way from launching is you. So that's the main thing that has to be dealt with first, is getting out of your own way. So that's probably your biggest tip.
So what about this? What about those who are like, I don't know what to talk about? So how do you respond to people who are like, I don't know what to talk about? I know I should do a podcast, but what do I talk about?
Okay, so some people have a niche, however you want to say it. Some people got like, only for women, or only for health, or only for fitness. And one of the things that Adam Adams asked me is, what's your audience? What do you talk about? Like, what's your subject? And I said, freedom. He said that, like, freedom, like how freedom? And I was like, well, freedom. Like, what's freedom? Freedom's not tied to anything. Freedom does whatever freedom wants, And he was like, okay, like he was trying to like basically put me in a category, not purposely. He was trying to narrow it down, because that's, something that helps people, helps the audience. But you can't put me down. You can't put freedom down. You can't put freedom in a box. Like, that's not what freedom is. That's ours. All right. If yours, though, if you want to be put in a category, because it does help with business, it does, focus on what you're passionate about. So if you want to know what to talk about, what are you passionate about? If you don't know what you're passionate about, ask yourself, what are you constantly thinking about? What are your actions? What are your actions producing? What results are you producing in your life? And more than likely, that's your answer right there. And if it's negative results, you need to change your passion.
I love that. That actually, I hope that those who are not able to find clarity, whatever Helen said, really ask yourself, what are you constantly thinking about? That is such a great question. It's such a clue into what you want to talk about, is what you're passionate about. So great question, Helen. I love that that we have our themed podcast, because it does kind of spices it up a bit. Because freedom is freedom is freedom. And I love that Adam Adams asked you about that. No, I'm saying
I
his
just want
name.
to keep saying his I know, Adam Adams. Okay, Adam, if you ever listen to this podcast, like shout out. You're awesome. We're just saying because your name is awesome too. But I got to give a shout out to Phil Better, which is also an awesome name, right?
Yes.
Like
Phil
I
Better,
think
Phil.
yeah, I've never met
Okay.
him, but he's a podcaster I've connected with quite a few times, and he refers me, and podcasters, authors, mothers, like when you're in a community and you support and you refer one another. I mean, shout out to the Wyoming Women's Network, same thing there. January, let me ask you though, what has been one of your most favorite podcasts that we've done?
That's a hard one because I feel like we have so many amazing ones.
Okay, I'll make it easy. What was one of your favorite subjects we talked about? Is that easier?
Jeez. They're all so freaking good. I think one of the ones I liked was the motivation and discipline one? I
Mm.
liked that one. That one was fun to talk about, but there was another one where we were just laughing. I wonder if it's the one that wasn't recorded. Was that the spirit one?
Okay, so there was one that we did, and I was trying to find it. It was a Halloween special we did, and we
Yeah.
dressed up in Halloween costumes. And I'm
Yeah.
looking for it on YouTube because I'm trying to make video clips out of it this morning, and I can't find it. And then I remembered we did it on Facebook, and
Yeah.
and we couldn't keep it. It's forever on Facebook, but we can't take it. And I can't figure
Yeah.
that out. I've tried. If you know the answer to that, please message, put in the comments how to do that.
I don't know, Helen. That's a really tough question because a lot of the times when we get together and we have these conversations, each one is just different. It's like comparing apples to oranges, and it's like I can't pick which one is my favorite. I loved when we had our guests, and we were able to talk to our guest, Dr. Luann Brizendine. I hope I said her name right.
Brizendine, yeah.
Brizendine, she was amazing. And I really enjoyed talking with her about the female brain, about the male brain. She has a book. She has a couple books, by the way. So please get it. If you
She
are
has a
in,
movie. She has a movie. Okay.
what's the movie?
It's called The Female Brain.
Mm, okay.
So she was one of our guests. Yeah.
So yeah. So please get her books. I think what helped me about hers is that we're talking about menopause and how we're desensitizing menopause. And her talk about brain wasn't just about it wasn't about like the feelings of it or the just the stereotype of a brain, but it was actually biological and based on science. So that was intriguing to me. Okay, Helen, what was your favorite? Because you have what 156, maybe 157 episodes now. Which one is your favorite out of the 157?
Well, all of them are my favorite, but I got to tell you, there's one that stuck out to me today when I went back in time and I was making video clips. It's one with me and my friend Jessica. And I don't know what we were thinking, but we were wearing wigs and working out. And then we did a podcast in the gym, in her gym, in her home gym. And we were all over the place. I mean, and our wigs, I mean, you can't even take it serious. It's a serious podcast that you can't take serious because we're wearing these red and green wigs. And just we're thinking, we're like, I walk in and I'm like, what's up? Like, I think I'm so cool. I'm just like, oh my God. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Yep.
I gotta watch that one. I think wigs will do it for us. I think if we had added wigs and like a crown. Hello, we're always talking about protecting your throne. Today I was trying to look for my crown because I do have a crown. I'm like, where's my crown? Because I want to wear it today. But that is something that we need to do more. I think we need to have more like fun stuff and like outdoor stuff, and go out. You know what? There's the beauty of Sexy Freedom Media podcast is that we are free to do whatever the fuck we want. We don't have to just be in this little box, we can do more. So I'm excited for the next podcast.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy is I really didn't consider myself a professional podcaster. I didn't even consider myself a very knowledgeable one for a number of years. And when I look back and I think of myself where I am now, I'm like, damn, girl, you should be super proud of you. Like, yes, you're in the game and you are. 6 years is no joke. I mean, there's some podcasters who have 10 years, but it doesn't matter like how many years you're doing it and you're growing and you're learning. And it's the same thing with being an author. The credentials mean something. And if you are somebody who is invested in your life with finances, time, and energy, and you've grown, you should give yourself a pat on the back. Like, yes, child, yes, you are winning. You're a winner. That's it. Mic drop.
Yeah, because why not, right? You have to grow, right? You can't just like sit still, at least for me. For you and I, Helen, we're not the sit still and just let life happen to us, right? We're the life is happening for us. Like we're part of life. And so I think for Helen and I, we're action oriented. We're let's do it. Let's go get it. Like just do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So for Helen and I, we're like, let's just go for it. Like if we mess up, we mess up. It's okay. We move on. And it's funny actually when we see our past podcasts and we're like, well, why did I say that? Or what did I do? Why did I do that? And it's so fun because then you get to see like, your growth. I remember Jen, what is her last name? Jen and Chris. Anyway, Jen, right? Jen. So Jen showed us her first podcast and how she was back then versus how she is now. She's so much more refined and very solid in how how she speaks. And I mean, very confident compared to how she was back then. I know for me, I'm still growing. I mean, because podcast wasn't something that I really wanted to do, to be honest with you. It was something that I felt I needed to do in order to grow my business, in order to be seen, right? So that's something that I was obligated. I felt obligated to do. But then as I do this every Friday, now it's like a habit. Now it's like, this is just something that I live and breathe, that I enjoy doing every Friday and every whatever day that we get to do it again.
Totally. Okay. You had mentioned earlier about how I'd been going through things. So 6 years ago, I started this podcast. It was on July 7th. I actually recorded on July 7th, which is 6 years ago today. But we just couldn't get it. I mean, the computer was falling over. The books that we piled it on was falling over. We forgot to press record on a few of them. We kept messing up the intro. Everything was going south. So we decided to do it on the 8th. And that's when we published our first one. So that was July. Okay. Fast forward 4 weeks later, my brother had taken his life. And I remember thinking, what am I doing? What, like, when you go through the grief of something so devastating, that's a big obstacle. That's a big, like gray area in your life. And I thought, I'm going to give up on this. Like, what am I doing? But the podcast, the book, the yoga, everything I was going through at that time to help me become a better person helped my healing journey through that. 2018, I ended up going to jail. Okay. Right before my book launch. And there we go again. I'm just fucking up. How can I get through this? Why am I doing this podcast? I felt like giving up so many times through the 6 years because I just kept landing myself in a lot of trouble, or I was losing people that I loved, or just struggling financially. When you have financial struggles and you have relationship issues, a lot of life circumstances can roadblock you beside yourself, right? And no matter what happened, okay, because I meet a lot of podcasters who are about a year or 2 years in, and they've got, I don't know, two to 500 podcast episodes. And I'm just like, 6 years, I think it's like my 150th. But I used to compare, and I used to really think that I was doing something wrong. And then I realized our journeys are all different. I mean, I've been faced with some major storms, and those storms have broken my ship quite a few times, but I rebuilt that ship and I kept going.
There's a quote, and it's, failure is only failure when you quit or when you don't move forward. So for us, we just continued pressing through despite any roadblocks that have come our way, because they can derail, you know. The other thing I wanted to share was comparison, right, is a thief of joy, and it actually kills whatever progress that we're making because we're comparing ourselves, and we have our own journey, and I love that. I love the journey that we're on. Hello, 6 years. That's a
Yes.
long ass time.
Well, I like what Jim Quick says. He says, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to express to you why this is so valuable, why this is so important for you, and to be encouraging, empowering, inspirational to you. And I also like what he says when he says, people don't care how much you know. They just want to know how much you care. And that has been at the forefront of everything I do, because my heart is really big. I carry my heart on my sleeve. I'm big into volunteering. I'm a huge giver. However, I learned that I need to give a lot more to myself, because when your cup is full and it overfloweth, you're able to pour into others and still have a lot for yourself.
So that is actually where I'm at this very moment, is that my cup needs to be replenished. So I'm all about self-care, which is what I'm doing. I think that's probably one of the next podcasts I want to talk about is our self-care and how do we self-care? Because there are moments. So I'm talking to this one woman. She is a part of the PTSD spouse, like military spouse Facebook group. And she and I talk all the time because our experiences are very similar. And so one of the things that we're encouraging each other to do is self-care. Do the things that give us joy, and honestly, podcasting gives me joy. I love podcasting, and I love podcasting because it gives me the opportunity to share my voice and what it is that's in my head. Helen, you've learned so much over the years, and I love hearing like all of your experiences. Like I can't wait for the movie. Let me just put it that way. Like, I cannot wait for the movie to come out about Helen Edwards, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, because it's quite a movie. So I'm excited to learn more about you.
Everybody's probably like, what movie? Wait, what? We're manifesting it. Okay. We're manifesting it.
All right. So yeah, so learning, Helen and I are doing Mind Valley together, and I love it because it's just a different way of retaining information. And we're doing this, as partners, and I'm just so excited because then we get to share it with you, because, like Jim Quick says, like you can't, the fastest way to learn it is to teach it. So that is something that we're probably going to do in the next episodes from now. I love that we're like thinking ahead in terms of what are we going to talk about for our next podcast. We actually have a list of things to talk about. It's never ending. So,
well, the cool thing is when you find somebody in life, or find a lot of people in life, like your tribe or your group of friends, or your whoever it is you want to just put in your circle, and you all have the desire to learn, to become better people, and to have fun. And I feel like that's my circle, because like attracts like, and I like to have fun. So if you don't want to have fun, I don't know if we're going to fit. Okay. Because let me tell you my circle of friends right now, and I got a huge circle, but a few of us are practicing the shuffle every day. And Rob's like, why do you tell everybody your stuff? Like, don't you want to surprise them? I said, they are going to be surprised, but we're doing the shuffle. And if you don't know what the shuffle is, Google it or YouTube it. It's so challenging. My shins hurt. Okay. Like it's hard. It's hard, but it's not hard. Like, we're getting it every day.
Girl, when you sent me that video, I was like, I didn't even do it yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was sweating just watching it. I'm like, what does she want us to do? Like, what is this?
It's a dance. It's a dance. If you know how to do the Running Man or the Roger Rabbit, it's basically that, except more, it's evolved. It's evolved to a lot of feet work and jumping. And that's what we're doing. A lot of.
It's a great cardio. Helen is on day 8. I'm technically on day 2.
Yeah, day 9.
Oh, you're day 9. That's right.
Yeah.
You're day 9. I'm on day 2. Charette is on day 8, 9.
7. So I think, But
And
we
then
send you, so here's what we do. If you want to do this, I really suggest it. If you're looking for fun ways to do cardio, dance, hello, no brainer. Well, pick a few of your friends and commit all together. Put yourself in a little Facebook group or whatever group you want where you can connect and communicate every day. And we chose Facebook Messenger because we can send video and picture in there and keep each other accountable. So we send under, minute video clips of each other dancing and practicing that day. But what it does is it helps encourage each other because nobody wants to get left behind. We want to all do this, and we're all going on the cruise together for my wedding. So we're really trying to bring it, we're trying to like really bring it.
girl, I saw this one video. Tori Nishino, I think Tori Nishino. Anyway, she has this one video. I'm like, Helen and us girls are gonna be doing just that. We're gonna do this and we're gonna be walking just like they were walking, like they were shuffling. Okay. When she first told me about shuffling, I'm like, you mean the Cupid shuffle? I'm like, girl, that's like right, left. I'm like, I could do that. I don't need to practice that. And then she's like, no, she's like, the shuffle, you need to go Google. I'm like, okay. So then she sent me a video and I'm like, dang. So it is very challenging, but I love it. I love that that Helen is challenging me because it's definitely outside of my comfort zone. It's definitely something that I'm like, I feel like I set kind of a limitation in the beginning. I was like, oh, I'm too old for this. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this. But then I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do it. So I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I do it in the water too, okay? Because it's easier to do it in the water.
The over 40 crew, that's what I feel like. Like a lot of young people do it. But if you feel threatened by that, that's a belief you got to get out of your head. We're not old, all right? We are young. And I posted something up the other day that said, to all the 40-year-olds, I want to apologize right now for thinking you were old when I was 18. I mean, I'm so young. You're so young. 50, 60, 70 is even so young. And I plan to live till about 120. That's my goal. And yeah.
Oh, that's the same. I want to live until 120. I want to live like as long as I possibly can. There's this one woman I follow and I think she's in her 60s. But girl, when she dances, I'm like, oh, she could do this. Oh. So I love that it's breaking the age barrier. And I think that's what we're trying to do. Because to be honest with you, yes, I know I'm in my 40s, but in my mind, I don't think I am. I'm like, I swear I was just in high school, like not that long ago. So I'm doing this dance. My children are watching me, which I love. Okay. I love that they're watching me and they're like, Mom, they're like, who are you? And I'm doing it. And I'm like, I think Nina is going to be dancing with us because she's watching me and she's like trying to practice herself. So I love that we're breaking age barriers and we're not putting any limitations on us because guess what? The only person who can put limitations on ourselves is us. We're the ones who talk in our own mind, in our own head, like, no, you're too old, you're too, slow, or you're whatever you want to put in your mind. All those negative talks. Jim Quick says, killing those ants. Ants are automatic negative talk. Kill those ants. Automatic negative talk. Kill them because it's not helpful. So please kill them.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same exact thing. I was going to say your brain is a super brain, like a supercomputer, and your self-talk is the programming or the program you're basically telling your brain to think or do that day. Ever since I heard that, heard that for a long, long, long time, right? Many years. However, when I hear it in a different way, I'm like, ooh, I like that. And I'm more mindful. Mindful is a key word. Mindful of the words I'm telling myself. Example, I have a bad memory. I'm bad at math. I suck at math. My memory sucks. I can't work out. I feel too heavy. I'm tired. I'm not consistent. I have injuries. Look, I just had a surgery last year, and that surgery wiped me out for a good 6 months. It took every day for me to just commit to about 5 minutes to strengthen my stomach, to strengthen my body, to get myself back to where I am today. And I'm not even where I want to be, but I'm still practicing. And your body has this amazing magnificent way of healing itself, but you've got to allow it to have that opportunity. And you won't give it that opportunity if you keep telling yourself you can't, because, like they say, no excuses or no excuses.
Right. Yeah.
KNOW.
Poof, 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 because really, it really is like what we tell ourselves. What was that quote? Your brain is like a supercomputer and your self-talk is the program it will run. So that is the quote. So the other thing that I wanted to share, because what Helen was saying was that, our bodies can actually recover. Our bodies can actually, it's pretty amazing what our bodies can do. So I just learned that in our brain, when we exercise our brain, such as juggling, because juggling actually is a good exercise for our brain. It creates neuroplasticity. Well, our brain is neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, which means that as we get older, we can actually create more brain cells. Okay, let me just say that one more time. Neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, we can create more brain cells, meaning that even when we're 120, dude, our brains can be amazing. But we got to put exercise to it, which is why we're doing this podcast, because this is helping our brains exercise.
Girl, that's so crazy that you said juggling. Okay. Today, before we even got on the podcast, when I was pouring my wine earlier to come sit down and do this, I was thinking to myself, I need to start practicing my juggling, because I actually know how to juggle. I know how to juggle 3 balls and 4 balls. Yeah, I used to be a clown. One of my first entrepreneur businesses when I was 14, my mom used to pimp me out to kids' birthday parties. And I was Boogaloo the clown. And that's how I learned magic tricks, card tricks, how to have fun with kids and to juggle. I learned how to juggle.
Girl.
That's so crazy. I was just thinking about that.
Okay, I challenge us. And I'm going to challenge Charette and Michelle. Everyone, that's Katrina, I'm challenging you. I hope you're listening to this, because we're all going on the cruise. Let's juggle, girl. So I told myself yesterday, I'm like, I thought I knew how to juggle, right? And so I'm like this, right? I'm shuffling everybody. So anyway, I'm shuffling, and Jim Quick was like, look, if you're doing it like this, he's like, that is not juggling. That is called shifting from one hand to another. So that is not juggling. Juggling is a point. So you put your ball at this point, right? So once it goes to that point, like diagonally, then you throw the other ball that way. So I'm doing it with 2 for right, girl. I'm impressed that you know how to do 3 and 4. Man, you're just like surprising me left and right. But anyway, so juggling, but he recommends that we juggle. That was day 12.
Hidden talents, it's crazy how much you can learn about a friend when we have conversations like this. We have them every Friday. In fact, me and January talk more than that. We're in business together. We do financial strategies for clients. We do tax-free retirement tax-free retirement conversations and meetings with potential clients. We talk numerous times throughout the day, and we've been friends, 2 years now?
Yeah.
And you still find out more about your friends the more you talk and the more you come up with different subjects and you get to know their thoughts and their opinions. And me and January we see eye to eye on most everything, but there's a few things we are really different on. We have completely different ideologies and beliefs and values. And that is the coolest part, is that we get to learn each other's perspective and stay open so we can expand each other's mind. And it really is a beautiful thing.
But I think the key word that you said was open. And you said open, and not too many people can be open, right? Because I think a lot of people are guarded. And I say that with such love, but I think a lot of people are guarded because of their experiences, trauma, whatever that may be. And so it's harder for some people to get out of that wall that they've built. So you and I, we don't have walls. So even though we may have like different perspectives, different ideologies, different values or whatever, we're still open to like learning from each other. And I think that's key in a friendship, is that we're open to like learning, and we're not quick to defend, we're not quick to be like, I don't believe what you're saying, and mine is right and yours is wrong. Like, we're not doing that to each other, but we're like, oh, okay, that's cool that you think that way. And then we can move on.
And it's so freeing. I can't tell you how freeing that is, because I've been around people where you can be yourself. You're being yourself because, again, you don't have that wall up, but then they have theirs up. And you immediately could feel that tenseness, that defensiveness that they just got. And I always have to remind myself, it's not about you. It's not about you. I mean, you are like, you're amazing. I mean, duh, you know, these are conversations I have to tell myself, because I, like everybody else, can get down on myself. I can be very angry and evil and just mean to myself. I could be my biggest bully. So I try to work on getting out of my own way. So when somebody else is being like that, I have to tell myself, that's on them. You can't take that on yourself, because you already got yourself to deal with. Now, sometimes there's things that I do that, you know, like, especially in a relationship, I'm like, "Ooh, I'm sorry. That was my bad." You know, I'm quick. I'm not quick to apologize. I'm quick to have a conversation with myself, because I know that's where the growth's at, even though I can be real stubborn. And I think that's the thing, is when people see people who are celebrating their achievements like I am, you know, being an author and podcaster, I mean, I'm shouting it out because I'm very proud of myself. I don't think they see the work, the hard work that's behind the scenes. I mean, I didn't just get here overnight, and I'm not going to get in the future overnight. I'm constantly working on myself every day, and I'm constantly working on my projects every day. And I have been my biggest obstacle. So when you are looking at me and you're judging me, or judging January, or judging anybody who's doing really well, I mean, that is a reflection of your own character, your own personality, your own whatever you're going through. Because we're all going, like one of my friends said, we all got our shit. We all do.
Girl, everyone has their shit. I mean, hello, I was just in shit like not that long ago, right? Just a few weeks ago. And so I think one of the things that I wanted to share, because, you know, we're talking about like comparison and all that, right? And then like other people and how other people's opinions of us is, that's it. That's just their opinion. That's not what I believe in. That's not what I want to internalize. But that is definitely something that I've been working on, because when, of course, it's gonna sting. Okay, so it's gonna sting, but you, okay, so something that Trent Sheldon said. Trent Sheldon, I'm doing another program, it's Mastermind, and Trent Sheldon has a program called Know Your Worth. And his philosophy is you know, their opinion is really not yours, and you got to just go your way, because the only way that they can control, or they can have power over you, is if we give permission to it, or to them, to have power over us. So somebody who has an opinion over us, that's up to us to be like, okay, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to, you know, cry about it. I'm going to, whatever, but that's your choice. That is your choice, but you can change that. I think the wine is starting to talk to me, I think, a little bit.
Okay, so I just had a thought while you were saying this, know your worth. I don't know how many other people do this, but if you do, let me know I'm not alone. When I have a dispute with my fiance, because we really don't argue, he's amazing. I got to shout out my babe, Rob. He's really great at working through things with me. But just like every other relationship, we have disputes sometimes. And I got to tell you some of the things I say. Sometimes I'll say, you're not going to talk like that to me because I'm a queen. And I think to myself, how many other people during a dispute will say those words to their person? Like, hey, you're not going to talk to me like that because I'm a queen. Like, does anybody else say that kind of language? Because
No,
I
but
do.
I'm going to.
I mean, I remember the first time I said it, and in the back of my mind, I was like, did you just say that? You know, because it sounded funny, especially during a you know, what some people call argument or dispute or high intense moments, emotions, right? Hey, you're not going to talk to me like that because I'm a queen. Or, hey, I'm a queen. You don't get to talk to me like that, you know, or this queen is not about to hear this right now. Like, that's how I talk to him sometimes. And what I love about Rob is he never corrects me. he's not like, you're not a queen, or why did you say that? He's like, okay, because he knows he's got a queen. What's up, babe? I love you. That's why I'm getting married to him.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to use that next time because my husband is watching right now. So hi, babe. Hi, Sammy. I can see him. He posted on our Facebook. I'm like, hey, he said happy anniversary. So
Thank you.
But yes, I'm going to use that next time. I am a queen. Wait, who are you talking to? You're talking to a queen. Are you talking to me? You talking to me? That's awesome.
You're like,
but it's like, wait, what? I love it, but you know what? It's all personal development. It's all personal development. Everything starts with learning about ourselves, being more aware, of how our not limitations, but like our boundaries, right? So that's another thing, like boundaries. We got to know our boundaries. And I love that you said, wait a minute, are you talking to the queen like that? No, you don't. Because that's a boundary, right? And I love that he didn't say anything. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's my biggest fan. And I want to wrap this up, but I do want to talk like about why I'm wearing this bride to be, in case nobody knows. We're celebrating our 6-year anniversary or podiversary, but my biggest fan was my mom and my sisters and my friends. So thank you so much. And January, thank you so much. But Rob, I got to tell you, one time, me and you, January, we were trying to get like 1,000 downloads. We were trying to get monetized. Remember that? We were posting it all over. Well, Rob, I love Rob. I come home and he goes, how many more downloads do you need? I downloaded like 100 already. I was like, yeah, did? Yeah. That's he's my biggest fan. And I appreciate that. And I hope all of you out there has somebody like that in your life, has a friend, has a lover, has a bestie who is your biggest fan and supports you in your crazy ideas. And if you want to start a podcast or you got a podcast, I hope you have a fan in your corner. Maybe it's your co-host or your besties or your family or your parents, whoever it is. I hope you got a fan, because I got a bunch of them and I am so blessed. So thank you, January, because you're one of them. And all of you who are listening are definitely one of them too. And I love you, love you, love you.
Well, with that said, I do want to say thank you to my husband, because my husband has been sharing our podcast on his page, and he's been there for me every time I have a crazy idea. So yes, my biggest fan is my husband, because he does go out of his way to help me with so I set up like expos, right? So I have expos for my businesses. He'll do that. He set up like when I had like a mommy baby store, and he set it up for me down in my garage. I didn't have to do anything. He was like, it's ready for you. And so even though I have all these crazy ideas, he just knows. He knows, like I did a workshop last week, filling jars. And anyway, so I just wanted to shout out to my husband, because I know he loves me. I know he appreciates me. And so I do love everybody that's listening. I appreciate everybody that's listening. And I'm excited for many more years to come, Helen, because hello, why don't we do this on the freaking cruise? We should do a podcast.
Oh, we are. We're definitely doing it on the cruise. Great idea. All right, January, tell everybody where they can find you.
Find me on LinkedIn, January Liddell. You can find me on Facebook, VIP Finance Builders, or on Instagram, VIP Finance Builders. Just Google me, January Liddell. You can find me. So I'm easy and accessible to find. Helen, where can we find you?
All right. You can find me on Sexy Freedom Media. It's my Facebook page, also our Instagram, Hell of a Journey with 1 L, and TikTok, Hell of a Journey 1. And you can get my book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. It's available on Amazon and Audible. And if you'd like to grow your money, grow that money and get into financial freedom, hit us up. We'll put the link in the comments. But we are financial strategists, and we can help you figure out some products. So, yeah.
That was so much fun. Happy anniversary to us. Happy 6-year anniversary. And to our listeners, our loyal listeners, because I know who you are. I know that you're like watching, you're listening. Mahalo. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next
Muchas
podcast.
gracias. Ahiye.
Yeah. Aloha.
Bye, everybody.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at sexyfreedommedia.com.